Been wanting to have children since I was 20 years old. That indicated that I had PCOS before they even did any checkups. I started lactating, meaning milk was coming out of my boobs and I didn't have any children. Due to the fact that I did lactate, they said I should do an MRI to have my pituitary gland checked to see if there was a tumor. Tumor, scary. So it turned out that I had such a small tumor that you couldn't even see it on the MRI.
Basically, then you were supposed to even be with your partner in order to try to get pregnant, right?
We had to have sex appointments.
I mean, she got so devastated. And so, what to say, basically her partnership wasn't really running well, and she said, no, I want that baby. I do want a baby. So she was seriously starting to inquire about adoption.
I have known him for, at the time, 20 years. 20 years. And I did not like a bone in a him. Free with his typical humor self, came and said, this is my future wife. And I'm like, seriously, whatever. She came, I took the digital one and I went again and did it. And the digital one said pregnant. And I'm like,
Two? Oh, yeah, of course.
seriously, finally, after all this stress, finally, and I wasn't even trying, because I know it only takes one time, but still, you know, twice. You know, you're with someone for 6 years or 6 years and odd, and nothing happens, and then suddenly you meet this guy or come with this guy and barely did anything together, and then whoops, it happened.
When we're in the restaurant, we have our corner and sit there and just supervise. And suddenly she would look up and say, I'm really pregnant. But for her, it was like this complete miracle.
So hello, Zag. Zag, hi. Zag, say hi.
It's like, hi.
Hello. Hello. Hello.
Hey my lovelies, it's your girl Mel, and I already know, so once me now in compromise position like this, I'm going to be heading out of the video, right?
And it's story time with...
Why you rush me something for
Sorry.
you? Anyways. You know, if I want to say mommy, it's another story time with mommy. Story time with mommy. Mommy, am I you? Am I you? Oh, you're not treating this time. Anyways, guys, we will be continuing story time from last week Thursday, where Mayumi spoke about her being diagnosed with PCOS and, you know, whatever happened afterwards. So this is going to be the continuation of that story time, so part 2 if you may. And yeah, mommy back there too, and I'll be babysitting again so they can tell you the story in peace. So for everyone asking where's Mel, I'm babysitting, okay?
Exactly.
So I'll see you guys at the end of the video again, but for the meantime, just enjoy the story. All right, guys?
Bye-bye.
Bis gleich. You start. You start. I'm just sitting by today because basically it's her story going on. And part of it, I wasn't even in Jamaica at the time because I was working in Germany, so I let her take the...
Well, yeah, she was doing her usual
stage.
Christmas market time. But we're past that time anyways, because we're in 2018 May now.
Okay.
Where
me and
my then time partner broke up.
Yeah.
Finally. Well, in my head we were already broken up in March, but whatever. So yeah, basically then he said go find someone and see that if you can find someone that's better and that will treat you better and whatever. Little did he know. Anyway, before I get to that, so May, funnily enough, May as well was when I went to a funeral of a friend of mine that I went to high school with, a very good friend of mine. In May, a friend of mine, her brother had actually committed a suicide almost a month before. He drank Gramazone with rum for some very personal reasons that I cannot disclose right now. But knowing what was going on with him, it's kind of understandable, even though in my opinion death or suicide shouldn't even be an option. But you know, some people are stronger than others and some people just can't handle certain things. So,
and you might know as well, if you drink Gramazone, that is not an instant death.
Nope.
It takes about a week at least, or
I'm
10
not sure.
days.
I'm not sure how long it takes.
I think about a week, because basically what happens, it dissolves your inside, and the person who is doing that basically is still alive
and feeling everything.
And feeling everything.
So it's a painful, very painful death. When we went to the funeral, it turned out that I found out that my friend's brother was also Hoo-Ha's cousin. And they grew up together and were like brothers. So I ended up seeing Mr. Free at the funeral as well. And funny story to that with Mr. Hoo-Ha. I have known him for, at the time, 20 years. 20 years. And I did not like a bone in a him. I Mr. like him. People, it's not that he did anything bad or was a bad person or did anything wrong. I just found him annoying. You ever just meet somebody and just can't take them? You know, he's a nice guy and everything, but he was just annoying to me. Annoying. Weird. So basically, anytime he tried to have any discussion with me, I would basically just cut him off completely or insult him at times. I was quite harsh to him. He can tell you the story. I was quite harsh to him. There are even some instances on Facebook when I get memories on pictures that I posted or posted some kind of whatever, and he commented on it, and I would just give him a really bad backlash. So moving up forward to him being at the funeral. So basically, like I said, he grew up with him and he basically organized the whole thing for him. So for some strange reason on that day, I don't know if it was the sadness in the air or whatever, and just felt, I don't know, sorry for him. Not really sorry, but I just felt his pain basically, and went over to him and hugged him and asked him if he was alright. And you could really see that he was very unhappy, because that was a very, very close cousin to him. Like I said, they grew up like brothers. They did everything together.
Weren't they best friends too?
Yeah, you can say that. Well, Free was more like his protector, because he used to get bullied quite often, and anybody who would try to bully him, Free would beat them up, because he hates bullies. So he would bully a bully. So even when that situation happened, it really devastated Free, because he was like, why didn't he come to him and talk to him? He would have helped him and tried to get him out of whatever situation he was and whatever. But I guess the cousin was saying that he didn't want to be a burden to anyone anymore. And he just couldn't take it anymore. It was just the last straw basically for him. So moving on from that, well, still at the funeral, we were there talking, me and my friend and a couple of our friends and a few people that we went to school with as well were all there. So it was kind of a reunion for everyone as well. And we were there talking, and then Free, with his typical humorous self, came and said, this is my future wife. And I'm like, seriously, whatever, don't come with this crap again. And he was like, you'll see. I'm like, yeah, whatever. Anyways, moving on. Basically, before I knew the whole story of what happened to his cousin, I was interested and curious, so I started contacting him because he was the one who had all the information. So I was like, alright, so what happened and whatever. So he would come by and tell me what went down. And for some strange reason, I didn't find him annoying anymore.
Oops.
And that was like so weird. So I don't know if it was the fact that, because he was never pushy or anything towards me saying he wants me and he's gonna get me or whatever, but he always made it clear that he liked me. But it wasn't a thing where he's like, you know, typical Jamaican, brownie, me want you, whatever. No, it was like, you know, I like you, but whatever, you know, you're beautiful and whatever, but I'm not gonna pressure you. That's how he has always been from ever since. So we kept hanging out more and more, and weirdly enough, being in my depressed state, because remember I broke up with my then time boyfriend officially in May, but I was quite depressed for a while, and the whole pregnancy thing bullshit was going on, so I was quite depressed. And on top of it, like I said, I took out of my head that I'm gonna have children because it wasn't happening and whatever. So, being around Free, I just felt comfortable. There was no pressure, there was no nothing. We were just friends, hanging out every day. Weirdly enough, every day. He would always come. He used to work at night as a security, so he would come at night, come during the day, hang out with me, and then when he was done hanging out with me, he would go straight to work. Till it turned out that even sometimes after I finished work, I would go see him at work, because where he worked was at Blue Lagoon, and they had a pool and stuff, so sometimes I would go up there and go night swimming. So basically we hung out every day. How long went by? I think about 2 months went by till we basically said, you know what, we're basically doing everything that couples do, why don't we just make it official? So he's like, in my mind it was official already, but I'm just waiting on you. So I'm like, well, okay, so then it's official. So July 18th I made it official. Kind of getting into some details now. I think before I made it official.
No, but tell them about the adoption thing too. That was
yeah, I'm not there yet.
Oh, of course, I was in the works.
Yes, but I'm getting to it.
Sorry.
Stop rushing the story now. So yeah, getting to the story now. To a bit more details is when we made it official. Before that, we went to a party, fan fusion party, had fun, drank, and danced in the rain. I love dancing in the rain, by the way. I'm a rain dancer. And then at the end of the night, I ended up staying at his house because I was too drunk to drive home. So basically, we got together then once, and then after that, it was the official part. Anyways, as mommy was saying, with the works of the adoption, I decided to go through with the adoption. So I got some forms printed, and like I said, I got all the information on what I needed to do and what I needed from other people. So I needed a couple of references. I didn't really need much, because
just fill out the form and
it's just fill out the form and the references basically. So I needed 2 references. So after me and Mr. Man got official, the next month, was it the next month I went to America?
Could be.
Yeah, I went in August. All right, so I needed two references. One of them was from a good friend of mine, her mother. You know her. Her name is Marcia Henry, the artist. So she was supposed to do a reference for me, but she ended up going to England to stay with her daughter for the summer holidays. And then I had to wait on her to come back. And then I ended up going to America for a month. So basically, with her being away for 2 months and me being away for 1 month, there was like a 3-month gap of me getting that reference from her. So basically, moving on to the fact that I came to America now. Fill out all the forms, like I said, and whatever, just waiting on her. I was in America and realized I was putting on weight again. I'm a yo-yo. I'm up and down with my weight. So, because sometimes I eat more, sometimes I eat less, sometimes I eat healthier, sometimes I eat less healthier. So I realized I was putting on weight again. So I decided that I was going to start exercising. So on the compound where my brother and his wife and kids live, it's a big compound with a lot of apartment buildings. So what I wanted to do, I don't run. I walk. I can't run. It's painful for me. My shins, they hate running.
From the rheumatic fever time.
But I hated running from before that anyways.
Yeah,
but since the rheumatic fever, my shins, it's like it can't handle the pressure of the running. It's like, it feels like my shins are going to break in two. So I don't do any running really. But I can do walking, long walking, even pace walking, but just no running. So I timed, because I said I wanted to walk for an hour. So I timed, or I counted how many rounds it would take to make that hour. And it was 6 rounds to go around that compound, which would add up to an hour of walking. So the first day I started was a Monday. I did that. Went in, did some abdominals, and whatever. Next day, I went. I realized after 3 rounds, I was out of breath. Like, really out of breath. Like I was jogging or running or something, or somebody was chasing me, out of breath. And I'm like, wait, that's weird. Why is it happening to me? So I said, all right, maybe because I haven't been exercising in a while. Maybe it's just taking its toll on me. Let me just go inside and do some ab works and whatever again. Went inside. Couldn't even do 2 abdominal workouts. I was like so out of breath. So I was like, alright then, I guess I won't be doing any more workout for today then. I'll try again tomorrow. That night, I slept. And suddenly I woke up feeling nauseous. And I'm like, what's going on? Like really, really nauseous. I don't get nauseous. I've hardly ever gotten nauseous in my life. So for me to even wake up and feel nauseous was really weird. This was like 2 o'clock in the morning. So I woke up feeling nauseous, felt nauseous for like a minute. And then I got up, drank some water, and then I went back to bed. Next morning I woke up, went to work out. Walked 1 around and out of breath. And I'm like, this is not normal. So I called Mr. Hoo-Ha and told him what's going on. And he's like, you're pregnant. I'm like, whatever. I can't get pregnant. You're just talking bullshit, whatever. He's like, yeah, whatever. I know what I'm talking about. I'm like, I know me. I can't get pregnant. So he's like, yeah, okay. Let's not talk about it. It's not like, yeah. Next day now, I decided that I was going to try again. But for some strange reason, when I woke up, I was extremely tired. Like, droopy, sleepy, like a zombie tired. Couldn't do anything at all. I'm like, no, sir, this is not normal at all. So, I spoke to Mr. Hoo-Ha again and told him about it. He's like, I'm telling you, you're pregnant. I'm like, whatever. And I said, you know what? I'm going to take a test just to prove you wrong. So I called my brother at work and asked him to get a pregnancy test for me. And he's like, oh, let me ask his wife, Carrie. And he called Carrie, and Carrie said there must have been one there. So I found it, took it. So the pregnancy test that was there, you know, the small ones where you put in the pee and then you get 2 strokes. So 1 stroke is not pregnant, 2 strokes is pregnant. I did it, and there was 1 stroke and a very faint stroke. So I'm like, okay. So I've been reading quite a bit about these pregnancy tests as well, and they say that faint strokes could mean false positive, but it also could mean positive. And then the packet that it was in said once you see 2 strokes, it means pregnant and whatever. I'm like, whatever. Anyway, so I sent it to my brother, and he's like, oh, you're pregnant. I'm like, no, I'm not. And I said, could you buy more pregnancy tests? Because I was not convinced at all. So,
and then she even called me. I was in Jamaica at the time, of course, and she said, Mommy, look here. And she showed me the pregnancy test, and she said, I don't believe it. No, that can't be. I will make more tests. And then that was a call.
so he called his wife and asked her to get some when she was coming from work. And then she brought some. So she bought a digital one, and then she bought another one with the 2 strokes. So when she came, I took the digital one and I went again and did it. And the digital one said pregnant. And I'm like,
2?
This is not true. It's not true at all. Whatever. Anyways, I took a picture of it and sent it to Hoo-Ha. And then he was like, but I told you. I'm like, whatever. I still don't believe. So, I've also read that the best time to take a pregnancy test is in the morning with the first urine. So I was like, alright, I'm going to take that one. That will prove whether or not I'm pregnant for sure. Next morning, woke up, took the other test with the 2 strokes. 2 very bright strokes. I'm like, I started crying on the toilet. I cried. I wasn't crying for sadness or whatever. It was joy. I was like,
pure joy, of course.
Seriously, finally, after all this stress, finally, and I wasn't even trying, because honestly, like I said, it was not in my head at all. Like, because of the whole adoption thing, I had it out of my mind. And on top of it, I only had intercourse with Mr. Hoo-Ha twice. I know it only takes 1 time, but still, you know, twice. You know, you're with someone for 6 years or 6 years and odd, and nothing happens, and then suddenly you meet this guy or come with this guy and barely did anything together, and then whoops, it happened. So that's how I found out that I was pregnant with my first child, Calais, Baba, my troublemaker. So from then and there, basically everything changed. Like, everything in my body changed as well. I was tired, which is very normal in the first trimester. Tired, I was constantly sleeping. And then weirdly, what was very annoying to me, my food habit changed. If any, do all no, I love my food. I'm always eating. Yum, 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 yum. And I like big portions of food. But for some strange reason, while I was pregnant with this young man, I could hardly eat. Well, it's not that I hardly ate, but the portions that I ate, they were small. When I say small, if I had a whole sandwich, if I had an egg sandwich, I could barely eat half of it. And then my tummy would be so stuffed. I couldn't eat anymore. But what happened, because of those small portions that I was eating very often. Which was good in some ways, but for me it's like if I have a plate of food in front of me and I can't eat stuff, it's very frustrating, because especially if the food nice and it's there, I'm going to want to eat off all of it, and I don't want to eat it later. I want to eat this now, and then if there's some for later in the pot, I'll go get that. So it was quite kind of frustrating to me, and then I wasn't used to having to eat so often either, because like I said, I eat big portions, and when I eat big portions, it will hold me out for a few hours, but there I had to eat like every half an hour to an hour.
Well, that's normal though.
It was crazy.
When you're pregnant.
Yes, it's normal for being pregnant, but for me it was like so even in the night, like I had to get up in the night. I had to have crackers and whatever beside my bed in the night, because I would wake up feeling so hungry. And people, I never knew hunger until I got pregnant. Like literally, the hunger feeling that I had was unbelievable. I didn't know I could be that hungry. Anyways, when I came back to Jamaica now, I went to the doctors because I didn't go to the doctors over there, but I basically made sure that I was taking care of myself. I even started taking prenatal, but after a couple of days I stopped because they made me feel extremely nauseous. And then, due to how my eating habit was, basically I was getting everything I needed anyway, so I didn't need to take the prenatals, which was confirmed by the doctor when I came back to Jamaica and did my checkup. So when I came back and did my checkup, the first checkup, I was 7 weeks pregnant. And I saw this little creature going like...
It's so cute.
And I was like, yes, I was like, look at that little gummy bear. And it's just, you know, moving so fast. Yeah, like I said, I was 7 weeks pregnant, seeing this little gummy bear moving like a... It was very surreal to me. But when I saw it, I just kept smiling. I'm like, look at that. I finally have a life inside of me. I can't believe it. I'm gonna be a mother finally after trying for so long.
The funny part was all the time. I can tell you, even the entire pregnancy, right through, her belly grew, everything was normal, everything was fine, the baby was growing good. Every time she looked at me, said, "Mommy, I still can't believe I'm pregnant. I still can't believe." I mean, on a constant, almost daily, you know, she was like in awe, completely like,
listen.
"Oh my God, after all this, I'm really pregnant," you know. And one very nice side effect of her pregnancy, she was in a good mood. I mean, good mood, constantly. This girl would smile, she would get patient, she would take, like, all the problems in the restaurant were like, yeah, well, you know, it was so amazing, this total change of character from being so extremely miserable and going on but a lot of times to being this cheerful, happy, easygoing person, which I enjoyed thoroughly, of course. I mean, I was not against it at all. I was grateful for it. But just to see this extreme change in her, it was, of course, very cute. Sometimes she would just sit there and do some crocheting or so. When we are in the restaurant, we have our corner and sit there and just supervise. And suddenly she would look up and say, "I'm really pregnant." You know, I was like, I said, "Yes, darling, you are really pregnant." But for her, it was like this complete miracle. And it was really cute to watch the joy that it brought her.
It really did. It really did. And it was just like a switch just flipped in me. It wasn't like it took any time. It was like, yesterday I was like, and today I was like, like nothing.
Seventh heaven.
Nothing couldn't bother me. Nothing at all. Like, you could insult me, I'd be like, yeah, whatever, okay, I'm good, I'm pregnant. I got a baby inside me, you can't hurt me right now. So
yeah, really, it was so, I don't know, well, I said already, it was cute to see, it was nice to live that with her, and a lot of things a lot easier.
And on top of it, I had a very easy pregnancy. So despite the fact that my eating habit had changed and I only got nauseous that one night, I had no nausea, and of course the fatigueness of being tired. I slept a lot, like really slept a lot, because even down at the shop I was so tired I couldn't even hold my sleep. Like, I couldn't stay awake. Like, I would be sitting there and I'd be like, and for me to sleep just like this is hard. So for me to just fall asleep like that was unbelievable. So I did sleep a lot. But other than the sleepiness and the eating habit, I was normal. Nothing normal. I was just happy and no issues. When I did my doctor checkups, everything was going how it was supposed to. I wasn't gaining any weight other than my belly was growing. But the doctor was like, why aren't you gaining any weight? Because my belly was growing, but I wasn't gaining weight. Like the weight stayed, and it even got even less.
Yeah.
And he was like, that's a bit concerning. But I was like, well, I seem to be losing weight, but my belly is growing. So basically, the weight that is being put on here is being taken off of me. So
basically it lies a bit in the family, because whenever I was pregnant, I lost weight as well. Basically, right after giving birth, I was always quite a few pounds lighter than before I got pregnant. So I guess that's in the family.
And basically that's what happened to me as well, because after I gave birth, I weighed, how much did I weigh? Well, I know I lost 17 pounds.
See?
17 pounds I lost. So imagine, when I just went to America, I was at 200 pounds. And 200 pounds.
Seriously?
Yes. I was at 200 pounds. I was at 200 pounds for the longest time too, for at least maybe 6 months or so. Yep. And
wow, that much? Wasn't it 180?
No, that's when after I lost it and I went down to 187.
Wow.
No, 183, sorry, not 87. That's how I lost the 17 pounds.
Okay. Wow.
And since then, I haven't gained back that weight either. I've been stuck at 187 since after the birth. The only negative part about the pregnancy, well, it wasn't even the pregnancy probably caused it, but it was after the pregnancy that it happened, is that I got sciatica. Very painful. So the whole pregnancy I was fine. I didn't even wobble, people. The whole 9 months me don't wobble. Everybody was like, you gonna wobble soon, you gonna wobble soon. I was like, nope, I ain't gonna wobble. I was even doing capoeira. You know that Brazilian martial art that we do? I did that a couple times with Melody. So I was very active and I was very energetic too, which was a very good feeling to me. But yeah, like I said, after he was born, it turned out that I got sciatica. And when I got it checked out, it seemed like whatever bones that were supposed to go back together in line didn't go back properly and were squishing against my sciatic nerve, which caused me a lot of pain in my left leg, up to the point that sometimes I could barely walk. I was in a lot of pain. So I even ended up going to doctors and started doing chiropractor sessions where they did some cricking here and cricking there, which is a very nice feeling.
But and expensive too.
And expensive, which was helping a bit. But then COVID happened and we ain't had no money no more. So I had to stop and I had to figure out how I was going to get this pain away from me. So I started going on YouTube and looking for yoga workouts specifically for sciatica and also Pilates. And I started doing them, and weirdly enough, these movements that I was doing helped me more than the chiropractor. Because the chiropractor, it would ease the pain a little, but it was always still there and still quite painful. But after about a month of doing these yoga workouts, the pain was almost completely gone after a month. And I was going to the chiropractor for like what, 2.5 months, 3 months.
Good while, yeah.
So basically I would say I was wasting my money. Because,
and I mean, she was desperate because the pain was that bad that she could barely walk.
I couldn't sleep.
You know,
I couldn't lay down.
And then,
I was in pain constantly.
Yeah, and as the baby grew and was, of course, getting more active and more moving around, and she could barely follow up with him, you know, because, I mean, even when he started to crawl or something, he would go away and she had a hard time to even follow him for a few steps.
Yep.
That's how hard the pain was. And I saw her cry more than once for that, you know, because it was just too much.
It was, definitely. So yeah, so basically after that, the pain was never gone fully. It was still there a bit, but it was manageable and it wasn't something that was bothering me as much. I was able to do more with my child and do more with whatever else with work and stuff like that. Not fully, because certain things I still couldn't do, because if I bent in a certain position or lifted certain weights or whatever, it would still be very painful, so I still had to be cautious. But like I said, it wasn't as bad. Anyways, moving on to a year and odd. Was it a year and odd after? Yeah, a little over a year. I started ovulating for the first time, and I always wanted 2 kids, and I always said after the 2 kids, depending on how I feel, I might go 4. I won't go 3. I don't like odd numbers. So I would go 4. But let's go 2 first. So and I always wanted them close in age as well. So for some strange reason, I knew when I was ovulating, and that was the first time I ovulated since I gave birth. So I was like to Free, hey, come on, baby making time, round 2. So it was like, okay, let's do this, and we did it. And then, strangely enough, after I think 3 days, and we only had intercourse once, after 3 days, I was nauseous. Like, just after 3 days, he made, I remember what he made fried dumpling and saltfish, and I was there eating, and it was so yummy. And then suddenly I just felt nauseous, and I actually threw up. I had to run to the bathroom and throw up what I was eating. I was like, and then I looked to Free, and I was like, Free, guess what? He's like, what? I said, I'm pregnant. He's like, how you know? I said, I just threw up. He's like, really? But that don't mean nothing. I'm like, seriously? You knew when I was pregnant the first time, and now you're saying this doesn't mean anything? Me who don't get sick, who don't vomit, and all of them say that suddenly me vomit for no reason at all? No, I'm pregnant. And he's like, alright, take a test. And I said, well, you have to wait a little while, because, you know, I think it
Fresh.
takes, it takes a couple weeks before you can. So I waited.
Really showing.
I waited a week. So the first week went by, I took a test, it said negative. So I said usually it's like 2 weeks after you can tell. 2 weeks after, took a test, nothing. 3 weeks after, I took a test, nothing. And I'm like, was I wrong? But I could feel it. My body was just, I could feel the change in my body as well. And it was basically similar to how I felt when I was pregnant with Calais. So I said, alright, I'm going to take one more test after 4 weeks. And if this says negative, that means I'm not pregnant. Took the 4th test. And he said positive. And it's like, but I knew this already. So this is no surprise. It's just that the tests weren't ready to prove it.
See the difference to the first time?
Yeah, total difference. So that's when I got pregnant with Kiara. So during that pregnancy now was totally different than with Calais, because after getting pregnant, after a couple of months, the pain started to come back. And due to the fact that I was pregnant, the movements that I was doing, or the workouts that I was doing before, I couldn't really do them while being pregnant, because they were quite dangerous to do while being pregnant. And I didn't want to, because when I got pregnant the first time, I did everything to make sure nothing happened. Exactly. Not that I was overly, you know, like, oh no, I can't do this or can't do that. I was still living my life normal, but I was cautious. So basically it was the same thing with pregnancy number 2. So the further along I got in my pregnancy, the more painful it got. So even after, I think starting after 5 or 6 months, I started wobbling. After 5 months or 6 months of being pregnant. Hi, Shat. I started wobbling. Me who never wobbled with the first pregnancy, none at all. I started wobbling, and I'm like, no, why? But I couldn't help it because of the pain. I had to set myself a certain way to get.
She was really duck walking.
Really duck walking, but I couldn't help it. I had to ease the pain some way, and it was the only way I could feel some kind of ease, which wasn't much, but it was more than if I just tried to walk normal. So anyways, moving on further down into the pregnancy, it got worse and worse. I was wobbling more and more. I could barely walk in the end. I was like literally like penguin walking as well. But funnily enough, once I gave birth to little Princess Kiara, that pain went completely. Like whap. Like she came out, gone. So basically,
things went back in place.
yeah. So basically, oh, I forgot to say, when I did my checkups at the doctors about why I had the pain and stuff, it also seemed like I had a slightly crooked spine down at the bottom, which would be close to my sciatic nerve. And I guess because you know when you're pregnant, a woman's body expands to make space for the baby, and it changes and whatever to accommodate whatever preparations it's making for when it's time to give birth. So after giving birth, it has to go back to how it was before. So basically, I guess because my spine was a bit crooked, it didn't go back how it was supposed to fully, so that's why it was pressing against my nerve. But I guess after being pregnant with Kiara, she basically made everything line up back and haven't had any pain since whatsoever. So
but now she doesn't want any more children because she said, like, if I get another one now, it might start the pain again. So, and
then maybe I'd have to have another one to get rid of it.
And then you have a whole football team.
I mean, I did say I might go 4, but honestly, after these 2, no, I don't want no more. Mr. Hoo-Ha is not very pleased with that.
She was lucky she get one boy.
I got my pair.
I mean, hey,
exactly.
What more do you want?
If I only had like 2 boys or 2 girls, I would consider going through that again. I mean, the pregnancy wasn't the issue, it's the pain after. And not only that, after Kiara's birth, they had me stitched up, and then I had a very gruesome story. I had hemorrhoids really, really bad. Yeah. So the first week after giving birth, I was in a lot of pain. I couldn't sit, I couldn't stand, I couldn't lay down. Literally, when I was in bed, I had to be on my knees hunched over like this to get some kind of comfort. But I was in so much pain. And the medication that the doctor prescribed me at that point was not working. So I had to call another doctor and ask her what I could take. And she prescribed me something else which helped with the pain but wasn't getting rid of the hemorrhoids. So I spoke to Auntie Marcia, which is Marcia Henry, where she told me that one of her friend's son, who is a doctor, found out that there's this bush that you can use which actually gets rid of the hemorrhoids. So I was like, okay, maybe I need to try that because everything else.
What's the name again?
Cowfoot bush.
Cowfoot bush.
So basically, what you have to do, you have to kind of roll up the bush, crush it up, let the juices kind of flow out, and then use some kind of thing like something moist, not moist, but something that's greasy, what do you call it, slippery, like Vaseline or so. But I decided to use aloe vera. Fresh aloe vera, because
aloe vera is supposed to be good too.
It's supposed to help as well with it's supposed to be soothing as well, and plus it was the easiest thing to use to make it go where it's quite uncomfortable because I had to put it inside. But after the first day of putting that, well, the first day I couldn't even put it inside because, like I said, my hemorrhoids, they were so bad and they were big.
Huge.
But I put it on it, and after the first day it started shrinking already. And then after the second day I was able to put it inside and whatever, and after about a week they were gone.
So people, in case anybody has this ailment,
hemorrhoids, also called cowfoot bush. It's a heart-shaped
Lucky
bush.
thing we have it in Jamaica. I don't know if you can get it wherever you are, but that is the remedy.
It is, trust me. Even if it's not caused by pregnancy or whatever, once you have hemorrhoids, use it. It works.
Excellent.
It works. So basically, after that, I had my 2 babies, my boy and my girl. Had my hubby. Had everything I wanted. Got rid of my hemorrhoids.
So
and life was good.
Beautiful.
Life was good. So that would be my story.
Yeah, on this note, positive note, we can finish this story time.
Yes.
I guess.
So for all you people, I was in your position. If you're trying to get pregnant because of PCOS and it's not happening, I was in your position where people even told me it will happen. Just don't stress about it, because I was like, it's not happening. People were telling me, but look, I had it too, and I had 4 children. Remember, Antia and whatever, and a couple other people, and like, yeah, but we went through it and we still. I'm like, yeah, it's not happening. There is light at the end of the tunnel, okay? The key is stop thinking about it.
Which is the hardest thing
It
to
is
do.
hard.
If you're so into it, it's the hardest thing to do.
Don't let it be the main focus in your life.
I think it was partly really that she decided to adopt at the point in time. So for her it was like, okay, I'm finished worrying about getting pregnant myself.
Yeah, basically
Because I'm
if it
going to
happens, it
adopt.
happens. If it doesn't, then
And
whatever,
then
because I'm adopting a child.
Having the new boyfriend and probably being relaxed and happy at the time, and then boom.
Yep. Because I was really, really happy being around Free. Like, constantly happy.
So happiness is the key.
Happiness is the key.
Okay then.
So thank you guys for listening to my
Melody's not here right
story.
now.
I don't know if Melody wants to do an outro. She's creeping up behind us. So yeah. But thank you guys for listening, and I hope I could help at least one person with my story. Here's one of the results.
Encourage.
The last results. Who's also driving me crazy right now. That's another reason why I don't want to have any more kids.
So guys, I guess they are finished with their story. So thank you guys so much for watching. Please remember to like, share, and subscribe, guys. Subscribe for me now, please. Let's get your girl to 40k subscribers. We're only
a few away,
400 away.
So not really working.
So just subscribe for me, y'all, and I will see you in my next video. Bye.
Bye. Bye. Bye. Bye. Bye. Bye. Bye. Bye. Bye. Bye.